Hey guys, welcome back to the Vin Review. It's about Melvin, and today we will be talking about the Indian soap opera Laali. But before we get into the video, please subscribe to the channel for more content, you guys, and let's get into the video. Okay? This is gonna be amazing. So Laali is an Indian television series. It premiered on the 16th of March in 2009 on Zee TV. Okay, so let's get into the plot real quick and then we will do our discussion. Laali is the story of a very poor girl who lives in a small village with her parents and siblings. They belong to a lower caste and live at the bottom of the social hierarchy. They go through many trials and tribulations as a family. Laali and her father have to support the family with little or no money. So Laali is sold to a man named Bali so that her parents can feed all her siblings so that they don't starve. She is unaware of the transaction and thinks that she is going to her in-laws. Eventually, she lands in the house of Loha Singh, who buys her with the intent of giving her to his youngest son Shekhar, who has a barren wife, and his oldest son only has daughters. Loha orders Shekhar to get intimate with her to get an heir, but he opposes and starts to care for Laali after meeting and talking to her. Shekhar and his mother Sumitra are the only people who treat Laali like a human being, okay? Laali faces many tribulations fiercely as she finds her rightful place in life and goes through the love story with Shekhar, which is almost impossible, okay? So that is an overview of what the story is about. This girl is basically trafficked, you know. Yeah, let's call it what it is. It is human trafficking. She's sold, she is given up for money. Okay, so that is human trafficking. She is trafficked, into the house of Loha Singh. Now, Loha Singh is not a good man. Okay, that is what we get from the beginning. Loha Singh is not a good man. He wants things done his way. Okay, he is very, very controlling. That's what we come to find out. He wants things done his way. He wants an heir and he wants him now. And he's very misogynistic. Okay, he's a misogynist and he really doesn't care what anyone else thinks. His sons are his business and he's going to control them the way he sees fit. That is Loha Singh. And then we have his wife Sumitra, who is very, very different from the person that he is. She sees Laali and she understands what she is going through, because this is a girl who has been uprooted from her family and everything she knows. She has been sold into this wealthy family, and so she's just, first of all, confused and disoriented. So Sumitra, Loha's wife, kind of understands her and treats her like a human being. So does Shekhar, and we have Sedishwari, who really doesn't care for Laali. All she wants is a child. She can't have a child because she can't bear children. So Laali is just a means to an end for her, and she really doesn't care if she's treated like an animal in a stable. That's Sedishwari. She's not the kindest of people in the show. As the show progresses, Laali becomes very fierce. Okay, she has gone through so much at a very young age. So what does she do? She becomes fierce because in that society that has caged this girl into just a childbearing object, she has to be fierce. If she's going to go through that life every day, she becomes fierce. She becomes fearless. Laali becomes a force within Loha Singh's house. She was sold into that place, but then now that's her life. She has to adapt. That's the thing. She has to adapt into that family. She has to adapt into that space. So she adapts and she becomes fearless, and she is not afraid of anything, even Loha Singh himself. And that is something that Loha Singh hated in Laali. He hated that she was not scared of him as everyone else was. And by the way, that is one thing that I loved about Laali. And can we say this? Laali had more than 400 episodes, right? And in what I love about it is that it ended. Yeah, it ended. Laali came to an end, which is something that we don't see in many Indian soap operas. They will drag the show, and then what they do, they won't give us closure. They will give us some excuse and go 20 years later, and then they will say that that is Lali's daughter, and then they'll begin a whole new story, not giving us closure with Lali's story and Shekhar and all of that, and they'll just move on to the next thing. And by the way, that's why these days I kind of dislike watching Indian soap operas. It's because I have invested time and emotions into watching this story, right? I need to have some sort of closure. There needs to be some sort of closure. You have been teasing and teasing and teasing the happy ending that we all expect, with these types of stories. But then what you do and what they're doing now is they'll say that it's them reincarnated into other people and all of that nonsense, and then they will say 20 years later, and then you're like, why? But with this one, it was different because, yeah, there was so much drama. It was a bit long, yes, but then it ended, and I liked the ending so much. Like, it's one of my favorite endings in the history of Indian soap operas. I will not lie. Laali was an amazing show. It was not as long as all the other Indian soap operas, and it reached a point where they knew that enough was enough, and I respect that a lot. The beauty of watching a soap, of watching a telenovela, a teleserie, is that you know that there's an ending, right? You know that there's going to be so much drama in the middle, and then it's going to end. Or whether they're going to give us a terrible ending, or, an ending that is going to be like, oh my God, what the fuck was that? But then it's an ending, there needs to be a start and an ending, and that is something that many Indian soap operas don't realize. Please give us an ending, and please, please, please give us closure. That is all we need, and Laali did exactly that. It had an amazing start, so much drama in the middle, and then there was an ending, which I respect. That I really, really, really do respect that. Overall, this is an amazing show if you really want to watch it, and if you really want something that is quite feministic, this is it. Laali was indeed very feministic. It is called Laali. So this girl really went through so much, from being sold, to being into that family, being treated like an animal, or lower than an animal, and then she rising above that, protecting that family, and doing so much for that family, and eventually giving birth to a son, and then in the end she gives birth, to a daughter, and they're like, in the ending, so sorry to spoil it for you, Laali gives birth to a daughter, right? And then she says she is excited to witness the journey of her daughter, and everything that she's going to go through, and all of that, because in that society, being a woman is very hard. So she's very excited to see the journey of her daughter, and then her husband, her son, and her child are seated somewhere, and then the cameras wander off somewhere else, and we see a tree, and it's been engraved Laali and Shekhar, so the show ends on a high note, and then one thing that I have to talk about, Laali becomes a politician. Yeah, she's actually elected, so this is a girl that went from human trafficking, literally being trafficked, and being kinda a servant or something else. She becomes a politician, and she is actually elected in that village, and becomes a politician. So that is something that I had to talk about. She is fearless, she knows what she's doing, and when she's going through all this, she actually becomes a politician, and you need to watch this. If you haven't, please go find it, watch it. It is a bit long, but then it ends. Okay, 400 plus episodes, but then it ends. That is the keyword. It ends. Anyway, please have an amazing day. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Love y'all.